Donald Trump is back on track, and Vice President Harris is struggling to counter him. Harris's honeymoon period is over, and so are her hopes for the Oval Office. Just weeks ago, the race for the White House was shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable contests in recent history, but Trump has flipped everything upside down. Trump's chances of winning the election have surged in major forecasts, thanks to a series of favorable poll results and shifts in key swing states. A striking new development comes from CNN's Poll of Polls, which compiles data from multiple national surveys. According to the latest update, Trump now holds a commanding lead over Harris, with a 68.4% chance of winning the election, compared to Harris's 30.9%. This nearly 70% chance is a substantial increase from earlier predictions. The Economist's latest election forecast presents an intriguing scenario for the Electoral College. Both Trump and Harris have a 1 in 2 chance of winning, with Harris predicted to secure 274 Electoral College votes and Trump close behind at 264. Just a week ago, Trump's odds of winning the Electoral College were lower, with a 2 in 5 chance and an expected 257 votes. The fact that Trump has narrowed the gap in such a short period shows that momentum is clearly on his side. Harris's numbers, on the other hand, have dipped. Last week, she was forecast to win 281 Electoral College votes. Her drop to 274 reflects a concerning trend for her campaign. Key battleground states that were once leaning Democratic have become more competitive and, in some cases, have flipped in Trump's favor. Insider Advantage polled 800 likely voters in Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, and Georgia from September 29 to 30. The results showed a clear trend. Trump is gaining ground in states that Harris must win to secure a second term for the Democrats. In Arizona, Trump leads Harris 49% to 48%, a razor-thin margin, but a critical shift in a state that Biden won in the last election. Nevada shows the same result, with Trump again holding a 49% to 48% lead. In North Carolina, Trump's advantage grows slightly, with him leading 50% to 49%. The race is deadlocked in Georgia, where both candidates are tied at 48%. Although the margins are within the margin of error, ranging from 3 to 3.7 points, Trump is taking the lead in Arizona, Nevada, and North Carolina is a significant development. The Quinnipiac University poll further proves Trump's surge in Georgia and North Carolina. From September 25 to 29, Quinnipiac surveyed 942 likely voters in Georgia and 953 in North Carolina. In Georgia, Trump holds a 6-point lead with 50% of the vote compared to Harris's 44%. This is a critical lead in a state that played a pivotal role in the last election. In North Carolina, the race is much tighter, with Trump leading Harris 49% to 47%. Although this is within the margin of error, it still indicates a trend favoring Trump. These numbers show that Harris is struggling to maintain support in states she cannot afford to lose. Emerson College Polling conducted similar surveys in Arizona and North Carolina on September 27th and 28th. Their findings mirror Quinnipiac's, with Trump leading Harris 50% to 47% in Arizona and 49% to 48% in North Carolina. On a national level, the NPR-PBS News Marist poll, conducted from September 27 through October 1st, shows that Harris holds a razor-thin lead of 2% over Trump among likely voters. Harris stands at 50%, with Trump close behind at 47%. Among registered voters, the gap remains similarly narrow, with Harris holding a slight edge. One key finding from this poll is that Trump leads Harris among independent voters 50% to 46%. This is critical because independent voters often determine the outcome in closely contested races. Furthermore, Trump holds a significant advantage among voters who plan to cast their ballots in person on Election Day, with 58% favoring him compared to 40% for Harris. Interestingly, voters who plan to vote early by mail or absentee favor Harris overwhelmingly, 71% to 28%. This creates a potential Election Day split, where early results might favor Harris but could swing toward Trump as Election Day ballots are counted. One of the most pronounced divides in this election is between men and women. According to the NPR-PBS poll, 57% of men plan to vote for Trump, while 41% support Harris. In contrast, 58% of women favor Harris, with 40% supporting Trump. This 34% gap between the genders is staggering and could play a decisive role in determining the outcome, especially in swing states where every vote counts. Another significant demographic split is among white and non-white voters. Trump leads among white voters, 53% to 45%, while Harris dominates among non-white voters, 60% to 39%. However, Harris's support among non-white voters lags behind that of Biden in the last election, when he garnered 71% of the non-white vote. Additional data from the RMG Group and a Myers, Michigan news source poll provide more insight into the race. Nationally, Trump and Harris are tied at 49%, reflecting the close nature of this race. However, Trump has a 51% to 47% lead in North Carolina, according to the same poll, further solidifying his advantage in this key state. In Michigan, the September 30 MERS poll shows Trump leading Harris by 1 point. When the full presidential ballot is included, the two candidates are tied at 47%. Michigan, a state Trump won in 2016 but lost in the last election, is once again up for grabs. A key indicator of election outcomes is how voters feel about the direction of the country. Currently, only 28% of Americans believe the country is on the right track. This number is significant because no political party has won the White House when fewer than 30% of Americans believe the country is headed in the right direction. This statistic is a major red flag for Harris, as it suggests widespread dissatisfaction with the status quo. Historically, the party in power has struggled to win re-election when these numbers are low. In this case, it could be a major boost for Trump, who is running on a platform of change. Next are the NBC News poll numbers, which provide further insight into the dynamics of the race between Trump and Harris across key voter demographics and major issues. Among men, Trump is significantly outperforming Harris, with 52% of the male vote, compared to Harris's 40%. This mirrors the gender gap we've seen in past elections, where male voters have typically leaned more towards Republican candidates, especially on issues like the economy and national security. When it comes to white voters overall, Trump also maintains a lead, polling at 52% compared to Harris's 43%. But the most striking divide is among white voters without a college degree, where Trump dominates with 61% to Harris's 43%. This group was critical to Trump's 2016 victory, and it appears that these voters continue to resonate with his populist message, particularly on issues like trade, immigration, and jobs. On specific issues, Trump is leading on several fronts. Regarding securing the border, Trump has a commanding lead over Harris with 54% compared to Harris's 33%. This highlights how immigration and border security continue to be major concerns for many voters, especially in states like Arizona and Texas, which have been directly impacted by the border crisis. On the economy, Trump also has an edge, polling at 50% to Harris's 41%. Economic issues have always been a cornerstone of Trump's appeal, particularly his focus on jobs, tax cuts, and deregulation. With rising concerns about inflation and economic stability, voters may see Trump as better equipped to handle the country's financial challenges. When it comes to inflation, one of the most pressing issues for voters today, Trump leads with 48% to Harris's 40%. The cost of living, rising prices, and economic uncertainty are key concerns for Americans, and it appears Trump is viewed as more capable of addressing these issues than Harris. On crime, another hot-button issue, Trump leads with 47% compared to Harris's 41%. Crime has become a focal point for many voters, particularly in urban areas where violence and law enforcement policies are under intense scrutiny. Trump's tough-on-crime message, which resonates with many voters, seems to be giving him an advantage in this area as well. This NBC News poll data shows that Trump has a strong grip on key demographics and critical issues, which could play a pivotal role in determining the outcome of the 2024 election. In addition to traditional polling data, betting platforms like Polymarket offer another perspective on election outcomes. Currently, the national betting odds on Polymarket show Trump at 50% and Harris at 49%. This is important because Trump touched the 50% mark after almost a month. In Pennsylvania, a critical swing state, Polymarket gives Trump a 53% chance of winning compared to Harris's 47%. This means that more bettors are putting their money on Trump to win Pennsylvania, which is significant because the state is a key battleground with its 19 electoral college votes. Trump's slight advantage here reflects recent polling showing him gaining ground in Pennsylvania. But despite Harris's challenges, her campaign has brought in a powerful ally, former President Barack Obama. Obama is scheduled to campaign for Harris in several battleground states during the final weeks before Election Day. His popularity and ability to rally voters could provide Harris with the boost she needs to close the gap in critical states.